Now we're going to be solving linear equations in one variable. And your equations could look like pretty much any combination of x's with numbers and equal signs and pluses and minuses. You could really have anything here. So I try to pick a semi-complicated one for us to start with here. Remember, when you're solving equations, you want to isolate the variable on one side of the equation, and that means if you've got multiple variables, like multiple x's in the equation on the left and the right, put them both or all of them on the same side. If they're already on the same side, go ahead and combine them by adding or subtracting them, and then you want to move all the other numbers to the other side of the equation, right? And we do all this manipulation by using our fundamental property in algebra, keeping the balance, right? You want to, whatever you do to an equation, whether it's adding or subtracting or multiplying or dividing, you want to do it to both sides of the equation equally, all right? Okay, so in this equation we have 3 times x minus 1 equals 4x plus 5. So this parentheses means 3 is times both of those, and so we can go ahead and multiply this through the parentheses, kind of distributing that 3 throughout. That would be my first instinct here. So 3x minus 3, and that would be equal to 4x plus 1. No, 4x plus 5, sorry. And then let's see, now we have, do we have variables on each side of the equation? And it doesn't matter if we move them all to the left or move them all to the right. I usually just move the one that's smaller. Okay, so in this case, I would probably move the 3x's by subtracting it from both sides. Now, you don't have to do that necessarily. You could subtract 4x from both sides and move them all to the other side. And that's okay as well. All right, the result here, though, would be negative 3 equals 1x plus 5. All right, so we have our x's on one side of the equation. Now we want to move the rest of the numbers to the other side of the equation, and to do that we would need to get rid of this 5. All right, we're going to do the opposite of what's already been done, like I did it before. So opposite of plus 5 would be minus 5, right? Minus 5 to both sides of the equation, and the result would be just the 1x equal to negative 8. And if you wanted to, you could go ahead and flip-flop that whole thing and just write it the other direction, which most people like to do. They like to put the variable first. And that is possible. You can flip-flop that whole equation like that. That is called the symmetric property, if you're curious. Symmetric property. I think everybody knows what symmetry is, right? Let's see if I can spell this correctly. Symmetric with a C, yeah. There's other properties. We talked about the distributive property up at the top. We've got the symmetric property down here at the bottom. You also have something called the transitive property and the reflexive property. If you're curious, you might want to look those up.